You're browsing online late at night. You find something you want. Maybe it's a new pair of shoes, some tech gear, or even a piece of furniture. You go to checkout, and right there, staring at you, is a little button that says, "Pay in 4 easy installments, 0 interest." It feels like free money. It feels like the store is doing you a favor. But what if I told you that this simple, innocent-looking button is quietly reshaping the financial habits of an entire generation, and not always for the better? Before we dive in, please remember that this video is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. My goal is to help you understand these concepts so you can make your own informed decisions. With that said, in this video, we are going to break down everything you need to know about Buy Now, Pay Later, or BNPL. We will cover exactly how it works behind the scenes, the 3 major risks that most people completely overlook, and when it actually can make sense to use it. Make sure you stay for the final point, where I will give you a simple framework you can use every single time you see that tempting checkout button. So what exactly is Buy Now, Pay Later? At its core, Buy Now, Pay Later is exactly what it sounds like. You buy something today, and you pay for it over time, usually in 4 installments spread over 6 to 8 weeks. The most popular services you have probably seen are Affirm, Klarna, Afterpay, and even Apple Pay Later. They are everywhere now. Online stores, apps, even some physical retail locations. Here is how a typical transaction works. Let's say you want to buy a jacket that costs $200. Instead of paying the full $200 today, BNPL lets you pay $50 now, then $50 every 2 weeks for the next 6 weeks. 4 payments, $50 each. And in many cases, they charge you 0 interest. Sounds amazing, right? And on the surface, it is. There are no complicated applications, no hard credit checks in most cases, and no interest. It feels nothing like a credit card. It feels modern, simple, and safe. But here is the thing. It's still a loan. Let me repeat that, because this is the single most important point in this video. Buy Now, Pay Later is a loan. It might not feel like one. It might not look like one. But the moment you agree to pay for something over time, you have taken on debt. And understanding that distinction is where your financial awareness either grows or gets left behind. Now you might be wondering, why is BNPL so popular right now? The answer is fascinating, and it says a lot about where we are as a society. Over the past few years, something interesting has happened. Younger consumers, particularly Gen Z and younger millennials, have developed a deep distrust of traditional credit cards. They watched their parents struggle with credit card debt. They heard the horror stories of 25% interest rates and minimum payments that never seem to end. As a result, many young people actively avoid credit cards. They see them as traps. And into that gap stepped Buy Now, Pay Later. It marketed itself as the anti-credit card. No interest, no hidden fees, no confusing fine print, just simple, manageable payments. And the companies behind these services are brilliant at making it feel effortless. One tap, done. You barely even notice you have committed to future payments. The growth has been staggering. Globally, BNPL usage has exploded, and it is projected to keep climbing. Millions of people, especially those between 18 and 35, now use BNPL regularly for everything from clothing to groceries to electronics. But here is where we need to talk about the risks. And there are three big ones that most people either do not know about or choose to ignore. Risk number one, the overspending trap. This is the most dangerous and the most subtle. Think about it this way. When you see a price tag of $400, your brain processes that and makes a judgment. Can I afford this? Do I need it? But when that same $400 is broken into 4 payments of $100, something changes in your brain. $100 feels manageable. It feels small. It feels like nothing. This is not an accident. This is by design. BNPL companies know that breaking a price into smaller chunks makes people spend more. Studies have consistently shown that BNPL users spend significantly more per transaction than they would if they were paying the full price up front. You end up buying things you would not have bought otherwise, simply because the payments feel small. And here is where it gets really dangerous. You can have multiple BNPL loans running at the same time. You bought shoes for $50 in 4 payments, then a phone case, then some headphones, then a jacket. Individually, each payment feels tiny, but add them all up, and suddenly you have $200, $300, $400 in combined payments due over the next few weeks. This is called debt stacking, and it is one of the most common ways people get into trouble with BNPL. And that realization is often the key to making progress. By the way, if you're finding this breakdown valuable and you appreciate this clear, in-depth approach, a quick click of the subscribe button below is the best way to let me know. It helps this channel continue to create helpful content just like this. Now, let's move on to what is arguably the most crucial point. Risk number 2, the late fees and credit score impact. Remember how I said most BNPL services charge 0 interest? That is true, but there is a catch. If you miss a payment, even by a day, late fees can kick in fast. Depending on the service, these fees can range from a few dollars to a significant percentage of your remaining balance. And those fees add up quickly, especially if you have multiple BNPL loans running. But the bigger concern is something many people do not realize. Your BNPL activity can affect your credit score. In the past, most BNPL companies did not report to credit bureaus. Your BNPL usage was essentially invisible to the credit system. But that has been changing rapidly. More and more BNPL providers are now reporting payment activity, including late or missed payments, to the major credit bureaus. That means a missed BNPL payment could show up on your credit report and drag down your score, the same score you need for a car loan, an apartment, or a mortgage. Think about that for a moment. A $50 installment on a pair of shoes that you forgot about could impact your ability to get a mortgage years later. That is a consequence most people never consider when they tap that Pay in 4 button. Risk number 3, the illusion of affordability. This one is more psychological, but it might be the most important of all. BNPL creates a dangerous illusion. It makes you feel like you can afford things that you actually cannot. If you cannot pay for something in full right now, breaking it into 4 payments does not change your financial reality. It just delays the impact. Here is a simple test. If you would not buy something at full price with the cash in your bank account right now, BNPL is not making it affordable. It is making it accessible. And there is a huge difference between those two words. Affordable means it fits within your budget and you can handle the cost without stress. Accessible just means someone is willing to lend you the money. But lending does not equal affording. This illusion is especially dangerous because BNPL is often used for wants, not needs. It is rarely someone splitting payments on their electric bill. It is usually fashion, electronics, entertainment, discretionary spending that can quickly spiral when the perceived cost feels so low. Now, I want to be fair here. Buy now, pay later is not inherently evil. There are situations where it can be a perfectly reasonable tool. Scenario 1. You are making a planned purchase that you have already budgeted for, and BNPL simply lets you spread the cost without any interest or fees. For example, if you need a new laptop for work, you have the full amount saved, but BNPL lets you keep that cash in your high-yield savings account, earning interest for a few extra weeks. That is a smart, strategic use. Scenario 2. You have a genuine, time-sensitive need. Maybe your refrigerator broke and you need a replacement this week. You have the money coming in from your next paycheck, but you need the appliance now. Using a zero-interest BNPL plan to bridge that short gap, when you know exactly how you will cover each payment, can be a responsible choice. The key word in both of these scenarios is intentionality. Using BNPL as a convenience tool for purchases you can already afford or are certain you can cover is very different from using it to buy things you otherwise could not pay for. The first is strategic. The second is a warning sign. There is also one more thing worth mentioning. If you are someone who is trying to build a credit history and your BNPL provider reports positive payment activity to the credit bureaus, making small purchases and paying them off on time could actually help your credit profile. But I want to stress, this only works if you are disciplined enough to never miss a payment. One slip and it works against you. So let us bring this all together. We have covered how buy now, pay later works at its core, which is simply a short-term loan, dressed up in modern packaging. We have explored the three major risks: the overspending trap that tricks your brain into spending more, the late fees and credit score damage that can follow you for years, and the dangerous illusion of affordability that masks your true financial situation. And we have seen that when used with discipline and intention, BNPL can have its place. To make this practical, here is your one assignment. The next time you are at checkout and you see a buy now, pay later option, pause for 10 seconds and ask yourself one question. Would I buy this right now if I had to pay the full price today? If the answer is yes, and you have the money, go ahead and use BNPL if it benefits you. If the answer is no, close the tab. Walk away. That 10-second pause is worth more than any payment plan. If this is the kind of practical, detailed analysis that you find valuable, and you want to continue building your financial knowledge with clear, no-nonsense explanations, the best way to support this channel and see future content is to subscribe. To do that, just click the subscribe button right below this video and be sure to turn on notifications. Thank you for your time and attention today, and I look forward to seeing you again.